Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do?
I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault, a new series streaming now only on Peacock.
Every Who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton. But where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one Who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and low prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as Who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
My name is Ryan Pack.
And I'm Nicole Barlow.
And this is Soundtrack Your Life, where we speak with a guest about a soundtrack that is important to them. Today, we welcome back pop culture writer Rachel Brodsky. Welcome back, Rachel.
Hi, thanks for having me back. It's always good to be here.
So, since we last chatted, Rachel, why don't you let us know what you've been up to?
Yeah, well, officially I'm still a freelance music and culture writer. You can find my work in, Stereogum, Rolling Stone, LA Times, Time Magazine. It's kind of the roster these days. But I did spend the first half of this year, 2025, writing my first book. And that was really cool just to know that I could do that, because I always wondered, like, when, and if when, then how. And I wrote or am writing a prescriptive biography of Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac and solo work. And it's prescriptive because the angle that this biography will take is that it's more about her words of wisdom and her life lessons. So every chapter is divided into, it's like either a quote, like something she has said about like just life, learnings, the decisions that she's made or not made, like deciding to stay single, unmarried, without kids, and some. Let me think. Some other ones. Gosh, I need to like pull up my whole. Do you ever like write something and then immediately like it all falls out of your head? Like in some ways, that's kind of what's happening here.
Oh,
but
every time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Just like following your dreams, chasing your ambitions, knowing when to say goodbye to not the love, but a love of your life. That like basically like survival tips by Stevie Nicks.
What does she have to say about being on good enough term with your ex to re-release Buckingham Nicks on vinyl?
See, that's a really good question, because when I turned in the manuscript in June, I had that hadn't happened yet, and so the ostensible end of the story for her in Buckingham was that they'd had a falling out a few years back, and he's out of Fleetwood Mac permanently, and they will never perform together again in Fleetwood Mac or otherwise. And so this is where I have to go back and make some serious revisions, right? Because I think like what I said, at least in the first draft, is that like, well, you don't really owe anything to the person who strangled you once.
That's fair.
Not to sound overly flippant or anything, but
though.
Yeah, I do think that most fans tend to forget that Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham have a famously contentious relationship, in addition to a historically creative relationship, because the dark underbelly of that creativity is that she really, part of why she needed to go solo out of Fleetwood Mac is to kind of prove to herself that she could be an artist, capital A, without the oversight of Buckingham, who in a lot of ways didn't appear to take her seriously when they were younger. And in the early 90s, they infamously had this insane physical confrontation, and Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac had to get in between them. So I dug really far into that and was like, well, she doesn't technically owe him anything. If she never wants to perform with him again, that is completely her right. Just as it is her right to reunite. And I think it's an exciting thing that they have reunited, because the album they did together pre Fleetwood Mac, Buckingham Nicks, they're self-titled, is such a, like, if you're into Fleetwood Mac, it's just such a, like, warning shot of what they would come to contribute with the band as a whole. Like, it's such an their album is really underrated. It was a flop when it first came out, and then it's like it was unavailable anywhere, I think, but YouTube, unless you were lucky to like get it on vinyl when it was first released in the early 70s. And so I think it's just really exciting that people get to hear that album again and hear Frozen Love and like kind of think about, because you can really hear Fleetwood Mac, or what would become the edition that we know. Anyway, I'm just this is all like practicing like my my spiel for when I inevitably talk about this to death next year when the book comes out.
We're really excited to read it. Stevie is obviously a colossal cultural figure, and I feel like there's no one better suited to do a really deep dive into a lot of the things that you don't know about her relationships and her motivations and the inspiration points she drew from than you. So I'm excited. Can you share the title, or is it still?
It's so the reason I have a title that I've submitted, and I'm waiting to hear what they think, and I hope that they'll go with it or some version of it. So I'm gonna wait to drop the title until I know for sure like what it will be, and it's set in stone. But yeah, I will say one more thing, that like my greatest takeaway from doing this deep of a dive into her life was that the sort of the dissonance between like how we think of her today as this like fountain of wisdom and this fairy godmother figure who's like guiding artists and fans and young people and maybe not less young people through their life journeys with these like incredible words of wisdom, like I keep saying. But like what I was honestly very shocked to dig into how little she was taken seriously 40 odd years ago. People like the industry didn't really take her seriously. Like Tom Petty didn't really take her seriously. And they went on to have this incredible creative relationship as well, minus the romance. But like a lot, like no one really seemed to take her seriously. They thought she was just this like woo-woo California blonde who's just like shaking her tambourine and lighting candles and like swishing around with scarves. And a lot of the profiles I read of her, like from rock journalists, were just like super dismissive, and that was painful. And she like just the extent to which she had to like really rise above that, and then just like keep going and come into her position as this like guiding light witchy woman. It's a journey.
Yeah, so I can only imagine. I mean, Jan Warner was dismissing women as of 5 years ago.
Right? Imagine the 70s. That's your cliffhanger. Imagine what was happening to Stevie Nicks and her prospects then. Rachel is going to reveal it in the book.
Also, I have to mention that Andrew Bird, Madison Cunningham cover of Buckingham Nicks called Cunningham Bird, also great album.
I haven't heard that. Ooh. That's a great plug. I'm going to seek that out.
I hadn't either. I'll check that out. Definitely.
So, looking forward to that, Rachel. Love your writing in general, so can't wait to read a whole book of it.
Thanks, Ryan.
I was on Twitter the other day, and you had posted, I believe it was something from maybe Rolling Stone that you had written, or maybe not.
Just posted. I just published like a preview and recap of the upcoming Lilith Fair documentary on Hulu. Think it airs on Sunday. I got a chance to watch it, the documentary prior to its release, and the nice people at Rolling Stone were kind enough to have me write like everything we learned, like all the hidden behind the scenes stories.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's really good.
I saw that pop up. I liked it and retweeted it, and Twitter was like, "Well, you haven't read the article, are you sure?" And I was like, "It's Rachel. It's fine."
Like, I don't need to read that.
You don't
I was
even
like,
need
I'll read
to
it,
know the
but
path.
Yeah.
Instant sure.
yeah, I
Thanks-
believe there's
thanks,
a
Ryan.
there's a fun detail in there about Missy Elliott needing a ride to Lilith Fair.
Yeah, so in 1998, the second year of Lilith Fair, Missy Elliott is invited to do a shorter set, and she's pretty famous among her peers, but probably a lot less well known among the Lilith Fair set. And this is like the year that they really worked to diversify the genre output within the festival. And yeah, Missy Elliott rolls up. I guess her tour bus breaks down on the way to do the set, and she's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make it," on the phone before actually getting there. And she hitches a ride from the highway and pulls up in a red convertible, as the doc mentions and talks about, and it's just like so badass.
Good for Missy. Hitchhiking
Yeah.
and gets a red convertible.
Mm-hmm.
They must have known who she was.
Yeah. I forget which town they were in, but that is the story. They didn't elaborate too much more on that. But that's a pretty great anecdote.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that like her, Pharrell, and like Timbaland and like Pusha T, they just like all grew up in Virginia Beach together.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, like all the rap you listen to today just came from this one town.
Yeah, it's really weird. The Piece by Piece movie really brings that into focus. Weirdly, I did not expect for that to be a big part of the Piece by Piece Pharrell Lego documentary, but it is. It's really fascinating.
Today we are going to talk about, we're not talking about Piece by Piece. Today we are going to talk about the 2009 Greg Mottolla film, Adventureland. So Rachel, why did you select Adventureland for us today?
Well, you offered it up, and I jumped at it.
Because Ryan made me do it.
Well, I think we had previous conversations about this movie.
Did we? Okay. No, I'm sure that's true. This is one of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time. I love this movie. But like, as far as the soundtrack goes, I don't think there are that many movies set in the 80s where the soundtrack isn't like all the pop hits of the day. So like, let's say 13 Going on 30, right? Like, very 80s set, like, at least partially, right? But the whole idea is like, oh, 13-year-old girl, a 30-year-old body, it's 2003, but also she's still in the 80s mentally. So like all the soundtrack songs are like Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, and nothing against any of those artists. Those are all like, I love 80s pop, but the thing, like, I also really love 80s alternative, which you don't hear quite as much in concentrated doses. You might get like a one-off. I mean, everybody likes like a Cure song. That's pretty classic for soundtracks, and like everybody likes a Bowie song or Velvet Underground or something like 80s inspired, not because Velvet Underground is not so much 80s, but like Lou Reed certainly is. But like there's such a like college rock vibe to this soundtrack. Like, I love how it opens with Bastards of Young by the Replacements. Like, that's one of my favorite songs. And also, I think it's not like an underrated or underrepresented song in the Replacements catalog necessarily, but it's like one I'm surprised that like that gets chosen for a movie soundtrack. Like, there are just a lot of others that I think people like would tend to go with first in terms of like this is the Replacements and trying to set the scene, even though I understand why they chose Bastards of Young. It's like a song about misfits and a movie about misfits and so on. But like, I just have an emotional connection to that song because when I was a teenager and I was completely obsessed with Green Day, I just would like go and like trawl the early version of the internet looking for interviews with Billy Joe Armstrong, and I think he said in some interview that he like loves the Replacements and Bastards of Young like inspired him to play, and that's what like got him into punk rock. And I immediately like go and download Bastards of Young on Napster or something, whatever I was using to illegally download music, and I was just like, this is great. And like, so it was just a real like eye-opening moment for me. And then like there are just a lot of other songs across this whole soundtrack that I'm obsessed with. Like, I have this like unnatural obsession with the song Your Love by The Outfield. I don't know why, it's like the cheesiest song ever, but I just love its sincerity and I just love the like big dramatic like pop, but also kind of rock, like it's like the silliest lyrics about like being into older women and like just, you know, just getting it, you know, and like if only for a night. There's just something very like sexy about that song to me, even with this cheesiness. And then like you just can't lose with A Crowded House needle drop. So
You really can't.
yeah, like Don't Dream It's Over has to be one of my like top 10 songs of all time. It's just such a like beautiful classic and like just lovely song. Like I just love the concentration of alternative 80s in this movie, and because I feel like alternative music doesn't really get its shine until in popular culture really until like the mid 90s, right? Like post grunge movement, and suddenly everyone's kind of waking up to what like punk did in the 80s and how like punk kind of inspires grunge, and then grunge kind of like goes extremely mainstream. But I just feel like this era, like late 80s that the movie takes place in, a lot of those songs are kind of like dark horse songs, just like a lot of the characters are. Everyone's just kind of trying to like figure out where they're going and where they fit in the world, and they are all like grouped together at this broken down like amusement park in Pittsburgh. And I just kind of love how that's just my interpretation of like how the plot links to a lot of these songs.
No, the songs seem very intentionally chosen to complement this very ramshackle setting of the Pittsburgh theme park and our outcast cast. And, you know, it does lean very heavily into like college radio and alternative. And that's super cool because you don't hear that in a lot of movies set in the 80s. So it's not 13 going on 30. It's not The Wedding Singer. You're not getting like
Right.
Goo Goo. And if you are getting those moments of 80s pop hits, they're kind of played in the periphery, or they're the things that like the two girls are dancing to at the disco hut. You know, they're like very much part of the story, but
But they're not cool.
they're not cool, and they're explicitly set up as not being cool. You know, in fact, the coolest person, coolest, that they set up in this is Connell, played by Ryan Reynolds. He's like the maintenance guy that everybody thinks is like this godlike figure because he's, you know, peaked in high school and he's older and he's stayed at the party too long, literally and figuratively. And his whole thing is he jammed with Lou Reed. So that's like his aura, that's his lore is, well, he jammed with Lou Reed, so he's cool. That's the signifier.
Except he probably didn't.
Except he definitely didn't. And at the
Yeah.
end, there's this really great part, right, where he gets totally exposed for not knowing the correct title for Lou Reed's Satellite of Love, which is
Shed
I
a
love.
little light of love.
Yeah, Shed a Light on Love.
Shed a light on love is what he's telling like these girls that he's trying to hit on, right? And that's completely wrong. And I love that Jesse Eisenberg's character takes him out in just that one very subtle moment. Connell never gets like a takedown really, but it's kind of like the most crushing blow to say that you
Yeah.
don't know the title of Satellite of Love.
Well, to take Connell down as a character, it would be like I think Jesse Eisenberg's character at that point realizes that that it's just not worth it because he's going somewhere ultimately. His character, Jesse Eisenberg's character, I mean, is like ultimately going somewhere. Like he might be stuck in this place for now, but he is going somewhere, and Connell is just going to be doing the same thing the next year and the next year and the next year. So like, what's the point? Also, I think I love this movie because like I didn't work at a amusement park, but I did work at a job that like in high school that was not like a job anyone really wanted and would envy me having. Like I was a cashier at a really crappy grocery store, and I did that for 2 years, and like it was definitely a coming of age experience for me, and so I have a lot of like nostalgia just, you know, for that time in my life where I was like working at this place where nobody wanted to be, and it was the kind of place where people would like ask me to go get them cigarettes, and I would take like an eternity trying to find the right cigarette. Like I didn't know the difference between like what menthols were or like.
I was 16.
And I'm 16, and it was like the same every single time. The customer would always say, "Oh, you don't smoke, do you? Okay, don't start."
Don't be like me, kid.
Yeah.
I smoke out of this hole in my throat.
Yeah. And it was like I still will always like never quite look at sheet cake again in the same way. You know, like giant grocery store sheet cakes or like rotisserie chicken will always kind of carry some strange significance for me, and like the smell, because it was just the amount of rotisserie chickens that I like moved across the checkout counter. But I and the same with the music, that like when there was just some like satellite, not radio, not like Sirius XM, but there was some like satellite radio specific for grocery stores and other like establishments, like retail establishments, that would just play, and I remember like certain songs I like came to despise for life, and then there would be some that I genuinely liked, and it was like a little momentary like peak of sunlight through the clouds. But I'm struggling now to like think of which songs I couldn't stand. Probably something Dave Matthews or or
You blocked it out.
I blocked it out.
I can't stand Benny and the Jets because it was on a playlist when I worked at J. Crew for like the first Christmas season after college. And so I was working at this J. Crew, and it was like a 30-minute playlist, and I can't stand that or Joss Stone's cover of White Stripes Fell in Love with a Girl.
Oh no.
Really specific and really bad. I can see how Benny and the Jets would be like Guantanamo level if it's repeated over and over again. It would be awful.
Oh yeah.
At a J. Crew while you're folding the sweaters?
Argyle sweaters, yes.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
I had one of those, I'm sure. I had like in 2004, I had like my favorite sweater was a J. Crew Argyle sweater.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
It was green. It was green and blue.
Oh, yep. It's either that or the pink and sky blue one.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a pink person, so I definitely had the like green and blue Argyle sweater. That was a good sweater though. I mean, I'm sorry about the playlist.
Good quality back then.
Yeah, good quality. Yeah.
Had that like crunchy piece of paper in when you fold the sweater up.
Yeah.
For people to buy. Yeah.
That's kind of a cool job, though. I don't know. I would have liked, I think, working retail at some point. Like, I know that like compared to what I was doing, like what I wanted to do, like I wanted a job at Hot Topic, like that was my dream job at that age, but that wasn't in the cards for me because like I didn't have my license. My parents were not cool with taking me to the mall like there and back, and the upside to this grocery store was that it was so close to home and so close to high school, like my high school, that I could walk there after school if I needed to, thus letting my parents off the hook. And I think about that grocery store like it's just like Adventureland, just because both are they have seen much better days. The last thing I'll say about why I love the soundtrack so much is just because like when I was in college, I was, I think, introduced to a lot of these songs, like the deeper cuts by Crowded House, and yeah, like Big Star and Husker Du, New York Dolls, Jesus and Mary Chain, like Nicole, and yeah, a lot of the 80s alternative songs on here, like I think became familiar with in like 2006, 2007, a couple of years before Adventureland came out, because I was doing an internship at XM Satellite Radio pre-Sirius merger a couple of years later, and the man that I interned for programmed. The station was called 44 Fred, and it played only 80s alternative for the most part. So I got to kind of help him program a little bit and like create little promos for the station. I even hosted a show in his place once when he was on vacation, and that was nice, although very stressful because you have to plan everything out so far like in advance, and it's not like just speaking off the cuff like you would and then go like in a podcast and then going and editing it later. Like this was so much more standardized, and that really freaked me out, but the music was really cool. And I remember like the first day I was there interning for him, he had a lot of bands come in, one of whom was the band World Party. Do you remember them?
Mm-hmm.
And so I hadn't heard of them by that point. I'm like 19. That was cool. And then like he had like he would play like The Alarm, and I'm struggling to think who else right now. I would just need to like start, doing a whole search, but he had so many 80s alternative like singers, as well as just great playlists. Like we would play Devo and just so many things that I hadn't actually gotten into myself at that point because I was 19 and just listening to like Broken Social Scene and Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah, well, I also think there's something to be said for when you're scanning the rotisserie chickens at the grocery store, the 80s music that you hear as part of the ambient soundtrack of sort of your own life is not the stuff that you find here. For a very long time in my youth, I thought 80s music was all of that, pop, new wave, super hyper produced and synthetic stuff. And it took me a while to understand that there is like this entire universe of music from the 80s that goes a lot deeper than that. I think as an adult, it's kind of hard to argue against 80s supremacy in terms of maybe this is like actually the richest decade for music. I think you could make that argument very strongly. I think this soundtrack makes that argument strongly.
Yeah, like I picture myself if I had been a teenager in the 80s. I picture myself as just like a pure goth.
I think you would make the most, yes, I see this for you. I see the vision. Absolutely. And also, like as much as we've heard Just Like Heaven, I think in a lot of different properties and a lot of different ways through the years, it's still a very iconic song. And who doesn't want to be high on pot cookies, riding a carnival ride and like falling in love to Just Like Heaven? It's a very
Yeah.
well chosen song, I think, in the context of this movie.
Yeah, yeah. I love the little universe that Adventureland as like a cast creates. And I was reading, I think it was on Vulture before our discussion started, but like the title of the essay reads Adventureland is the perfect end of summer movie.
Yep.
And that's just like so true, and you can like feel why that is without even reading the content of that essay. Like what Jesse Eisenberg's character walks into this world that's like already established, and all of these people who are working at the park have these like pre-existing relationships with one another, and they've already had their drama, like their soap opera within this little contained universe of the park. And Jesse Eisenberg's character has this like a sickening case of main character syndrome. And
In a lot of his films, I think.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely in this one.
And like I love that his arc is to kind of be able to see outside himself by the end of this movie. And also I just like love this as a early Kristen Stewart film.
Yeah.
When she was so like in the world of Twilight, and then this little movie comes out, and like she's still kind of, you know, she's really got that like trademark downcast, lip biting, like angsty girl thing happening at that time. And she's very good at being angsty, but like this was so much more concentrated that like I just love the direction that this movie lets her take that in.
Agreed. It's a
Yeah.
really great.
I want to be friends with her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
for
it's such
sure.
a great early Kristen Stewart vehicle, and I think
Mhm.
you want to be friends with her too because you get the impression that unlike I think a lot of characters maybe from this same sort of 2009-ish era, she's not like passive, she's not manic pixie dream girl. She's actually like very much in her own agency. She stands up for people. She gets in the way when there's going to be a knife fight at the carnival. Like she's ripping wigs off. Like she's very much strong, and you know like her signifiers of cool of James goes over to her place and is like, oh, you have Eno the Replacements, big star. She's that too. She's this cool girl archetype also, but she's like very strong and you want to like hang out with her.
I love that you've pointed that out, that she's not like, she could be set up as a manic pixie dream girl, and that like she likes cool things, and she always like has a good comeback, and she seems very self-assured and like someone you would just fall in love with and project all of your hopes and dreams onto, is this James?
Yeah,
Like
James.
like James does. And then yeah, she also has this like traumatic backstory where her mom died of cancer. And just by the way, like as a fellow East Coast Jewish person, I just love that there's like such a Jewish undercurrent without being super obvious in this movie. And like Kristen Stewart's like her character is like M's mother dies, and then her father starts going to temple again, and the way she just says it very casually, like it's, you know, they're not everyone's not like actively super Jewish, but it's kind of like in the background, the way it reminds me of the way I grew up. But yeah, anyway, like her mother dies, and her father starts dating, what is it, like her friend? Is it her mother's friend or another woman from Temple?
Yeah, from Temple.
And yeah, she's like evil stepmother, like just kind of social climby, and it's got nothing to do with her being Jewish. She just happens to be like a social climby, concerned with exteriors
Doesn't
person
care for
who
her.
really shouldn't be a mom or a stepmom. And it's like, hey, do you like that? I don't know. That's a whole other rant, because it's like, do you not even know, like, hey, like you marry someone, and if they have children, you're marrying their children too. Like you can't have one without the other. And if you try to make that happen, well, that's going to create huge problems, and that you may not win. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a great scene. It's
She
a great
pulls out
scene.
yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I
This
love
is
the
her
like
favorite,
driving around in cars, like playing Husker Du.
right?
Like this is a very, I don't know, like find the beauty in settings that are not immediately beautiful kind of movie.
Yeah,
I've not been to Pittsburgh, but I went to college in Pennsylvania, and I lived for a few years as a child in central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's a huge state, so I'm not going to try to say that like where I lived is just like Pittsburgh, but like there's definitely this like sort of ho-hum post like steel mill like kind of like tired Pennsylvania town vibe running through the film as well, that like you definitely get the sense that like the surroundings are gonna just pull you in, and you could become Connell if you stay too long.
for sure. There's some very effective driving around a rundown working class town scenes in this movie. They're very well soundtracked. So yeah, you get Husker Du, you get you get Pale Blue Eyes twice, actually. You get it when they're driving in the car, and you get it later when, they've separated and Jesse Eisenberg's in the bar and he puts it on the jukebox. I really like the way this movie makes some things part of the needle drop and some things part of the soundtrack. And then, later on you'll get them in like a diegetic way. Same thing happens with Bastards of Young, where it like blasts in the beginning over those like opening credits, and then it's part of a party. So everything's very natural and organic and feels so important to the characters. You don't really get that a lot in movies. We've also spent the last couple of weeks talking about soundtracks from the 90s, like Spawn and Godzilla, where they're more like marketing properties. This is art.
No, this is
Yeah.
definitely well curated. The soundtrack supervisor is Tracy McKnight. Not particularly well known for too much before this film, but after this, she ended up doing the first two Hunger Games soundtracks. So clearly, that impressed some people. What I wanted to mention about the soundtrack is like you have this group of college rock kind of bands. You got like your New York Dolls and Husker Du and the Replacements, all kind of East Coast Midwest bands. So there's nothing from the West Coast on this soundtrack, because like these kids wouldn't have found that stuff. There's no Minutemen, there's no Black
True.
Flag, and I think it's because being in Pittsburgh, and I believe Jesse Eisenberg's character James, he went to Oberlin, which is in Ohio, and they probably, it would have been hard to find that sort of music. So I feel like it's curated to be like, this is what you would have found in Pennsylvania. And I think Kristen Stewart even has a Husker Du shirt at one point.
Yeah, she like goes between Husker Du shirts and Lou Reed shirts the whole time.
And her white tank top.
She's not and her like wife beater when she's not wearing her games shirt.
Yeah,
Games.
Games.
Burn the games shirt. There's also posters up in each of their rooms. So Jesse Eisenberg's character James has a poster of the Heroes cover, the Bowie Heroes cover, and then also a poster of Lou Reed's Transformer. And then she also has a Transformer poster, and she has a Bowie poster, but it's Aladdin Sane. So even the posters feel kind of like, well, decided upon to signify that, like, yes, they're soul connected by their relationship to this music. Yes, they come from kind of the same place of understanding, and, maybe geographies too. I love that you went really deep in the geography of it, Ryan. You're like, no, I'm coming through for Minnesota. Replacements mentioned.
And Husker Du.
And Husker Du, like, I have to come through.
I mean, why else would I love this movie?
Yeah.
And also, we'd be remiss to not mention that Yo La Tengo did the score.
Yeah.
And it's kind of perfect for kind of this slow burn of a film,
Mm-hmm.
kind of cozy, and also kind of about like a small town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of feels like looking out of the window in that setting in the film, like everything feels just a little bit damp, a little bit cloudy.
It does. That's a really yes.
Which like again makes me think of so I went to college in the Lehigh Valley, and it's a specific location in Pennsylvania, like made because it's in a valley, it just like made the weather was always just a little bit worse than it was always like a little bit colder, a little bit damper, a little bit more uncomfortable than just like outside the valley.
But even like when James goes to New York and he's trying to find M, it's raining. Like, there's not
Yeah.
a lot of sun in this film.
There's a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of dreariness, a lot of rain. I do love that bus ride to the replacements, Unsatisfied. So wonderful.
Yeah. I like upon rewatching the movie, I got thinking a lot about the setting, like the political and economic setting of and like the class disparities and kind of like that conversation within the movie and with the backdrop of like former President Reagan and like what that was doing to the United States economy at the time. And like James starts the movie at this like sort of privileged undergrad who's never really held a part-time job, or recent grad, and his friends are like they're yuppies basically, like they're going to Europe, and then they're going to get hooked up with like their rent paid in New York. And the best friend in from college, from Oberlin, starts the movie like, yeah, like I'll like give you a free ride for a couple of months if you can't pay, because James's whole problem now is that his father was demoted and they don't have the money anymore to really send him off to grad school, to journalism school in New York. And then by the end of the movie, not, spoilers, but the best friend is like, oh yeah, I've decided, like, I've had this epiphany in Europe, and I'm not gonna go to journalism school anymore. I'm gonna go to business school because there's money to be made, and I'm gonna make the money.
And I'm going to Harvard.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna go to Harvard Business. Yeah, my dad made a call. And James's perspective is so shifted at this point, because he's had to go into this like completely dead end job every day and really meet probably people who they can't just, like, their parents can't just make a call and get their kids into like a totally different life if they feel like it. Like James is he's grown uncomfortably because of this change in perspective, and like the way, just going to kind of a crappy summer job every day. And anyway, I appreciate that a lot, just about the movie, even though it's not a happy circumstance.
Yeah, it does those class conversations pretty deftly. I feel like on the other side of this, from the shitty friend who, eventually ends up abandoning their plans for New York, who is the same guy who plays the shitty boyfriend in Lena Dunham's Too Much.
Yeah, he's
Also,
good
the
at,
shitty husband
yeah,
in Mrs. Maisel.
So he's like,
yeah,
yes, so like he's just really shitty.
he's
And
good
like,
at
what
playing
must
shitty
that be
men.
like, man, when you're just like the best at playing a shitty guy? Anyway, so yeah, I think on the opposite end of the spectrum from his character in Adventureland is Martin Starr's Joel.
Yeah,
I could make this entire episode a Martin Starr appreciation podcast, because what a treasure, what a legend.
love him.
Love him. Love him the most. Freaks and Geeks, Party Down, Silicon Valley, Adventureland. Really underappreciated in what he's able to do with characters, even if they're all kind of a similar, like, nerdy outcast that gets the girl, like his.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. He's just so good in everything.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
I love him. I love how when they keep playing Rock Me Amadeus, he's just out there screaming like fucking sadists.
Yeah, he's like,
It's incredible.
if anyone's like a misfit, when we're talking about misfits,
Yeah.
in the cast of Adventureland, I mean, he's probably the greatest misfit of them
Smoking his
all.
pipe and reading Russian literature.
Smoking.
Yeah, which like 30 years later, I mean, you'd be just like every guy in Bushwick.
He's just
Right?
ahead of his time.
He's ahead of his time.
I do love the scene where he hooks up the girl Sue, and then the next day he comes to bring her the book, and she's all weird about it, and then Kristen Stewart yells at her and is like, "Do you believe in apartheid? And are you anti-Semitic?" And she's and in 2009 it hits way differently than it does in 2025. I was like,
Completely. Yeah, because
that's like a real thing to ask now.
yeah, because she, like, Sue, the friend in, the employee, like, kisses Joel, and then she goes and tells her brother, who's like hinted at being kind of a jerk earlier in the movie, and then like the brother tells Sue's parents, and then I guess they're very, very, very Catholic, and then there's this like again like a small town problem where like, oh, my Catholic parents don't want me kissing someone who's Jewish, which Joel's character is. And yeah, like he's like, worse things have happened to the Jews, which I thought was a really funny line. And but yeah, like Kristen Stewart is like just completely irate and like chews out the character of Sue and just like really, really lets her have it. She's like, you are not my friend, but you can like in that moment see what a like she has a lot of issues, yes, but she's also incredibly loyal.
Yes. Yeah. Big time loyalty.
Sometimes to a fault.
Yeah. Well, she'll grow out of it. She's what, 20, 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, give her some time.
Oh, so let's go back to Rock Me Amadeus, which is such a great gag in this film.
It is a great gag.
Yeah.
Really.
Almost as good as The Simpsons' Rock Me Dr. Zayas musical gag.
Right, which if you're of a certain age, that's just how you hear this song. The Simpsons way.
Yeah, but I love how they use it in a funny way. It's not like the most obvious song from that era, but like it's you immediately like recognize it. And it's like that perfect bounce.
But it's such like a one-hit wonder, right? Of that time. And
one-hit wonder, and it's like silly.
It would be like because like it's this running gag that Rock Me Amadeus is like plays over and over like at least 5 times a day, if not more, over the loudspeakers at Adventureland. And it would be like hearing a Vertical Horizon song that many times, maybe in like 2003, like a couple years after it came out. I forget what year Rock Me Amadeus came out, but it's just like think of the most like one-off, one-hit wonder band and song, and like if you didn't dislike the song then after a billion times hearing it,
you would burn out on it, I think, very, very quickly, which is why the gag works so well. Rock Me Amadeus by Falco came out in 1985. I remember being a very small child with a teenage sister because my sister is 12 years older than I am. And this was played constantly on MTV, which was constantly on in my house. So I can still kind of recall this whatever horrifying guy in an Amadeus like fright wig. And that video is just on all the time. And you're like, is this serious? And I'm 5 being like, is this serious? But it was, I think, and also something that was really probably everywhere, like realistically everywhere. So
yeah. I don't know. I think I heard about that song years after it came out. It was,
yeah, we can bury that one. That's the kind of
music
you don't want to keep talking about that gives music a bad name. But the decade obviously has so much more, which is I think why this movie hits so hard too. Why the soundtrack, The Needle Drops, in this movie hit so hard. And not all of them are from the 80s, but they're things that again you would have listened to on like college radio that would have been getting traction at the time.
Yeah, I know I've probably said it before, but I just I love the timelessness of this movie. And even with such an 80s core soundtrack, like these songs are still being played on college radio and on alternative radio, if such a thing really exists, but definitely like non-commercial radio, we could say. And I love that like the costumes in Adventureland aren't like, there are some specifically 80s costumes, like when they go to the disco in Razzmatazz, like Lisa P.
Lisa P in general, right?
Lisa P in general, yeah.
We're in the 80s.
Extremely 80s outfits, extremely 80s hair. But for the core gang, there's like a real classic, like everything from just the music to the outfits to the hair. Like it doesn't really matter what time of like life, or rather like when you graduated from high school or college. Like this is just a killer coming of age movie.
Yeah, and if if you notice the name Greg Mottolla, it's like, oh, it's the super bad guy. Will you like it? Maybe, but there is some dick punching in it. There's a lot of dick punching.
A lot. I didn't count, but it's a lot.
This is true. Lots of, well, really just one dick gets punched.
No, there's a second dick that gets punched, and it's a very satisfying moment
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah, but the ratio is pretty imbalanced.
It is imbalanced, but there is redemption at the end. Like, it's almost a narrative device.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, at the start of the movie, like Jesse Eisenberg's life is just one big dick punch because like none of his plans are panning out, and then by the end he's like, no, like I'm gonna punch back, and then he just like gets on a bus and hightails it to New York. So he's gonna stop being a passive passenger in his life, take control.
Yeah.
It's funny. So I looked up the character who plays Frigo, the main perpetrator of dick punching in this film. And he also is one of the friends in the Goldberg sitcom. So he's been playing like a kid, like between the ages of like 15 and 20 for like 15 years of his life.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he's working, and he's, the Goldbergs was on for a really long time.
Yeah.
But he's constantly been like the like sidekick teen friend for like 20 years of his career.
Yeah.
Some people can get away with that. And I think that's great. There are a lot of people that have gone on to a lot of typecasting successfully that are in the main cast of this film. So good for them.
Yeah. Stacked cast. This like
a very stacked cast.
the setting of the movie and just like the ages of all the cast members, you really get like a 10 Things I Hate About You kind of vibe where like it's this like slice of life for the cast members too, where it's like this is a very contained like summertime moment that like they're coming of age, their characters are coming of age, the story is about coming of age and moving into adulthood, and you just like you get and it's this great cast before they all go on to like become extra super famous.
Yeah, because I think Eisenberg had only done like The Squid and the Whale, like he was just breaking out when this movie came out, and I don't think anyone would have been like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be in like superhero movies and he's gonna have a magic heist franchise.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure anyone was like heavily rating or betting on Ryan Reynolds at this pre-Deadpool stage and things too. I want to believe that there's an alternate reality where Ryan Reynolds only plays bad boyfriends. This is such a subdued Ryan Reynolds performance, but it also like you really believe it. I really believe it.
I feel like this is the only Ryan Reynolds performance that I find like, I don't know, like I haven't unpacked this thought.
Where he's not just mugging for like 2 hours.
Yeah, like I haven't
not even once, and so it makes you remember like, oh, there's a time where this could have been possible, right?
Yeah, like you want to say like Ryan Reynolds, you don't always have to be in a superhero outfit and mugging for the camera, like you're saying, Ryan, to get us to appreciate you as a presence, right? Like you could, doing understated work has just as much, if not more, value, but I don't think that would be true to Ryan Reynolds' personality to go for the understated role.
So we were talking about how this movie kind of feels like Dazed and Confused in some ways, and I feel like his character is kind of like a rebuttal to Matthew McConaughey's character in Dazed and Confused. Like if there's a guy that is that old that's still hanging around with kids that are that age, like he's a predator.
But when you're a kid, you don't realize that.
Right.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, cool. Like the 29-year-old wants to hang out with me. The 21-year-old. I must be really cool.
Yeah, he must see something special in me.
Yeah, who among us hasn't been there?
Who among us?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess me.
Not Ryan. He was too busy folding shirts at J. Crew.
Right.
There was no 29-year-old that was interested in me when I was 21.
No one was grooming him at J. Crew. He was just grooming sweaters.
No, they were just training me to fold sweaters in a very, very organized fashion.
I had kind of a like 22-year-old dalliance when I was 17, but from that job, by the way, like from that grocery store job from high school I mentioned, but luckily he had the presence of mind not to pursue it. It never went beyond just a flirtation, and good on him. Really.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
We respect those.
Great.
Yeah. Like that's a stand-up gentleman.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to our game.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in... Ooh, crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
All right.
All right, so Rachel.
Games.
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 Yeah.
I'm wearing a shirt that says games. It's a ringer tee. So we have a new segment here on Soundtrack Your Life that we're calling Your Life in 3 Tracks. We talk a lot about soundtracks. What we don't always talk about is how you would soundtrack your own life if it were a movie. So, Rachel, connoisseur of pop culture, if your life were a movie, what 3 tracks would you choose to soundtrack it? First up, what are you choosing for your action scene?
Okay. This seems self-evident, but it's the first thing that came to mind, but I would pick Metric's Combat Baby.
Yeah, it's really
Nice.
good. It's really good, Rachel.
Thank you.
What's happening in your action scene? Like, what do you envision?
To be honest with you, Nicole, like, I am one of the least confrontational people you will ever meet, at least outside of verbally confrontate. Like, I could probably kick someone's ass verbally today, but I'm just such a pacifist. When it comes to like physical violence of any kind, like action. I know action doesn't have to mean violence, but like I picture something comic booky, something like that could be in like Scott Pilgrim, that kind of action, but for soft-hearted nerds like me.
I see the vision. I see the Scott Pilgrim vision. I also think it could just, drop in right after you verbally annihilate someone. That's fun.
Yeah, so I guess that would be it. If I like my action scene would just be like, instead of thinking about a comeback in the shower after the fact, it would be that I thought of the right thing to say at the right time and just decimated them.
Which, I mean, if you're scripting the movie, that's how I would script mine too. Because it's like, oh yeah, I thought of it in the moment.
Yeah.
3 days later.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, what is your romantic scene? I mean, people can interpret this any way you want. Romantic scene, sex scene.
Okay.
What do
see,
you want it to be?
The thing is, I have 2 because I actually couldn't really decide in the moment if I wanted it to be like a falling in love montage, or like a sex scene or like a love scene. So if I were to pick a like falling in love like honeymoon stage song, I would pick Carly Rae Jepsen's Cut to the Feeling, because there's like no more euphoric pop maestro than Carly Rae Jepsen, especially
A friend of the show, Scott in Toronto, would totally agree with that.
nice. Yeah, it especially 2015 era Carly Rae Jepsen. Speaking of 80s pop, and then, well, not that she's from, but like that was like a whole 80s pop record, not that, yeah. And then if it was a love scene, I'd have to go classic Bruce Springsteen's Secret Garden.
Ooh, okay. I really like these answers. These are very good.
Thank you.
These
Well,
are very, very good. These are deep.
well, yeah, I mean, I try, like, this is, I guess, why they pay me the small to medium bucks.
Rachel's like, yeah, I'm banking on this being right.
I love a soundtrack.
Lastly, what are we doing for your montage scene? And this can be any kind of montage. It can be a shopping montage. It can be a training montage.
Ooh, okay. Well, I was thinking makeover montage because I do love a makeover. And so this is kind of recent, but I was thinking Halsey's I Am Not a Woman, I'm a God.
Ooh.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Lyrically, very on point.
Like
Wow.
I'm getting like my hair like looking great and like my makeup is snatched and my waist is snatched. I don't know. Can both things be
What are we
well but
watching now? I don't
both
know.
things are snatched and I'm just like putting on like when I get dressed up, maybe you can tell because I'm wearing black right now, but like I just love a sharp like matrixy black outfit, like something that's just like bam, like a real like red ass lip. And then I put on like a leather jacket and then like I feel so unstoppable when I'm just like black dress, leather jacket, black boots, red lip, or just like a berry lip, and then I'm just like, big hair, and it's almost like my armor, and that made me think of something like a song that's poppy, but also just a little bit aggressive.
You seem very enthused by this. I feel like you have to go do it after we wrap.
She's ready to verbally annihilate somebody.
I will. Well, I will.
Someone after the montage, you get the red or burgundy lip and the sharp black outfit.
Yeah, I will be doing this next Friday. I'm appearing at Beatport, LA, where I'm moderating a panel, and that's like anytime I have to get dressed up for like a wedding or like a professional engagement or anytime I'm like among the people, then it's just like black dress, red lip, black boots, leather jacket, big hair, can't lose.
Yeah, I think that's a Cake song.
I am not a woman, I'm a god.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for playing your life in 3 tracks. Those are fabulous choices, and we love them.
Thank you. I love a playlist.
Yeah, that was fun. So Rachel, thank you for coming back to our podcast.
So Ryan, thanks for having me.
So if people want to see what you're up to, or when they want to find out, or if they want to follow you to find out when your book is coming, how can they find you?
Probably the best way to follow all of the book, etc. info, find me on Instagram. That's where I live most of the time nowadays. I'm sporadically, on Instagram, I'm just rebrods. And then I'm also on Twitter X, Blue Sky, and Threads, but much more sporadically. So yeah, go to my story.
Yeah, we'll put that in our show notes just in case. We'll just put it in the show notes just in case.
Thank you.
But Rachel will be writing all the time until the book comes out, so there will be many things to follow. You can find us on Instagram at SoundtrackCast and on Blue Sky at soundtrackyourlife.net. Twitter is just mostly auto-posting about our episodes. I don't really use that very much anymore. But we also have our own writing site now at blog.soundtrackyourlife.net. Nicole's got her review of the new Spinal Tap movie there, as well as an interview with Jonathan Richman, who snail mailed a publicist back his answers, because that's how he works.
That's amazing.
3.5 weeks.
That's amazing. I love that.
It was the best thing ever.
My friend told me that Jonathan Richman built his friend's pizza oven.
We love this. Pizza oven, analog, letter sending king.
Here.
Yeah, legend.
But
once again, thank you, Rachel. We love having you on, and we are glad that exciting things are going on for you.
Thanks. I mean, there's a lot of hurry up and wait, but I really appreciate any chance to come on and talk about movies and soundtracks. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no one ever wins a giant-ass panda.
No one ever wins a giant-ass panda.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.